we are taking your thoughts on Guy Lafleur this morning. If you do want to call us and let us know how you're feeling. Obviously, it's a tough morning for a lot of people with this news, who was the greatest Canadians hockey player of the 1970s, and there's just virtually no debate on that. So if you do want to call us at 514-790-0800 and share your thoughts on the passing of Guy Lafleur, we would love to hear from you this morning. I did get a note from a listener saying that they spent 4 days with Guy Lafleur at the Memorial Cup in 2018. They won a contest to fly a private jet with Guy Lafleur. And 3 family and friends to Regina, and said that Guy was a great person and very generous with his time throughout the weekend. And that's the thing, just being around Guy Lafleur. Because I was at the Bell Center for 10 years, I had a couple of moments where I got to be near Guy Lafleur, and you were just in awe. I know a lot of you are hearing Steve Shutt tearing up there and having to leave us because it's a very emotional time for him. I know that's affecting a lot of you. That has put some of you in tears. Let's go to Frank on the line. Frank, welcome to the show.
First of all, my condolences to the family. Terrible. I'm 52 years old. Who didn't play street hockey in the 70s or the early 80s in dans la ruelle or in the schoolyard? Not thinking he goes Guy Lafleur. It's a big loss for the province, for the country, and I'm going to say probably even for that generation, an icon in certain North American states. Because although he was a Montreal Canadian, I'm sure there was Boston fans, New York fans, Chicago Blackhawk fans that were Guy Lafleur fans. Mm-hmm. So big loss, and bad year 2022. Started off with the loss of my dad, Mike Bossy last week, and Guy Lafleur. So far the Grim Reaper hasn't been. Is very active, but it's very sad for the province of Quebec.
Frank, thanks very much for calling. I really do appreciate it. When Guy Lafleur was playing, the Canadians winning a Stanley Cup was a given. 5 Stanley Cups for Guy Lafleur. 73, 76, 77, 78, 79. My lines are blazing here, so let's take Jeff on the line. Hi, Jeff.
Yeah, hi. It's a very, very sad day. We all grew up watching him. I was at a charity fundraiser for the Special Olympics. He was at our table, and he was a guy who played hockey every single game, where you thought he was playing because he was going to get cut the next day and sent back to ride the buses in the minors. You don't see that anymore. He was a superstar who played with fear that he was going to get cut the next day. And you just don't see that anymore. Mm-hmm. And it's, Mike Bossy, and now Guy Lafleur, and he was just an athlete who loved the game, and he just played the game, and he played it like we all played it as kids, with passion. Even then, you weren't seeing it. Now it's completely gone. It's just a sad day for all the baby boomers. We're all moving in that direction. Very sad.
Jeff, thanks very much for calling. Yeah. Thanks for sharing your thoughts on a day like today. A listener writes me, another part of our childhood gone. You can give me a call now. I have many people waiting on the lines. We're going to get to you in just a second. Of course, the news coming out this morning that we have lost Guy Lafleur, passing away at the age of 70, a battle with lung cancer. I'm getting many text messages from listeners who are in tears, and I know when we touched base with Steve Shutt just a few moments ago, Steve Shutt. A man that basically his entire career, he was looking at Guy Lafleur. I mean, it is incredible when you look at the careers of Guy Lafleur and Steve Shutt. Guy Lafleur started in 71, Shutt starts in 72, so the next season, and then they played their entire Canadians career together up until 1985. And then you heard that emotion, and I know that has touched many of you, and I know many of you are in tears this morning. We do want to hear your thoughts on Guy Lafleur. Maybe you met Guy Lafleur. And let's go to our phone lines here. Craig is on the line. Craig, thanks for staying on hold here. What would you like to say?
Well, first of all, thanks for taking my call, and condolences to his family. But as you read, I was the one who spent the 4 days with Guy Lafleur to the Memorial Cup, and above all, besides having watched him, play hockey, that day when we actually flew out with him, it's like, first thing you met, you realize how nice and down to earth he was, and we came to the private jet, and he took my luggage. And
he took your luggage?
He carried my bag into the hangar, and was conversing. I traveled with three friends. I entered this contest on the last day. It was shocked beyond hell that I actually won, and went out with one of my daughters, a friend of mine, and my nephew, and he couldn't be more gracious. It was like we sat in this small plane jet, flew with him. He spoke the whole time. He was he was interested in us. He told stories about his times with the Canadians. And when you look at him and you realize, I was really shocked because I've never met him before, but how big his hands were and his arms, but was the gentlest and the nicest guy. He made us feel really at home. And even when we got to Regina, we were in a private box with him, and so we went out for supper. He spent lots of time at the hotel with us, and couldn't be. So it's a real sad day when I remember hearing about first that he had that his lung cancer had come back, as he told us that story, and it was really hard to hear, and tried to communicate with him, but can understand that. Lots of other things on his mind. But it was a great time, and we flew back, and he was so great. He just signed anything we gave to him from the Memorial Cup.
Craig, thanks for putting a smile on our face on a morning like this with the story of Guy Lafleur carrying your luggage. It speaks so much about the man. I really appreciate you giving us a call. Let's go to Nicholas on the line. Hi, Nicholas.
Yeah, hi. I was privileged to play with Guy Lafleur. I was 17 years old, and I was at Doug Harvey's hockey school, and that was back in 1971-72. Doug Harvey used to have a semi-pro pickup hockey game where people from the National League and junior hockey used to come, and he asked me if I wanted to play that day, and I said, yeah, sure. So it says, come here at 8 o'clock, and I walked in, and he put me in a team with Guy Lafleur, and I said, oh, my God, Guy Lafleur is here. Now, the funniest thing, the special thing I remember the most about Guy Lafleur was I seen great hockey players skate, and when they skate, they crack the ice. But Lafleur had this special sound. He cracked the ice, and the ice was vibrating. Never seen that before in my life.
Nicholas, thanks very much for the call. And I so many images of Guy Lafleur in my mind where you say to yourself, geez, how is that even physically possible? How is that angle of him on the ice even possible? Let's go to Steve. Hi, Steve.
Yeah, hi. So I never met him, but I just have a personal story. Mm-hmm. In 1979, we were having our high school prom at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. And that was the night of the too many men on the ice and him scoring that tying goal that you keep on playing. And we were all there with our dates, and the guys wanted to watch the game. So the Ritz-Carlton found a black and white TV, and all the guys were gathering around, and we were so depressed because Boston was leading the whole game, and we thought for sure we wouldn't win our fourth Stanley Cup in a row. Mm-hmm. And then Guy saved the day. He scores the tying goal, and the entire mood of the prom just completely changed, and we went on to win our fourth Stanley Cup, and that's what Guy was. Guy was our hero, and he never let us down.
Steve, thank you so much. Yeah, he didn't let anyone down, huh? I appreciate that, Steve. Thanks for the call. On the text line, because Steve brings up his prom, Frank wrote me this. You're right, Elias. With Lafleur, the Stanley Cup was a given. I was in high school from 76 to 80. At the beginning of every school year, we would chat. The chat would be not if, but what excuse we would use this year for the Stanley Cup parade. Let's go to John on the phone line. Hi, John.
Hi. I remember working out in Birchieville at a country fair, and I had no hotel. Me and my buddy, we had no motel to sleep in. We went into town looking. They were all booked. We went into Mike's restaurant to have lunch, and I said to the waitress, "Do you have a Yellow Pages?" Yeah, go in the bar. I go in the bar. There's a guy behind the bar. He's bending over, picking up cases of beer. He turns around. It's Guy Lafleur. This is his franchise.
Wow.
I was in shock. I said, could I have a Yellow Pages, please? He said, sure. What are you looking for? And I told him the story. He said, okay, I'll take care of this. I said, what? About a half an hour later, he says, here, takes a placemat, draws a map on the back of it. He said, you got 2 rooms in that motel.
Wow.
Sure enough, I go there, 2 rooms booked in Guy Lafleur's name. I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
And he had these 3 kids working in the bar with him. They were all junior hockey players. He used to hire them in the summer, give them jobs, you know.
Hey, John, that's a great story. That's a story to remember. Thank you so much, John. That also put a smile on my face this morning on a morning when we need it. I have a note here from Julia on the text line. It's not only men who are missing our legend today. Hockey also has many female fans, and as a fan from that era, I'm particularly grieving today for this loss. No player today will ever have that kind of remembrance from fans, as they are a totally different type of hockey player. Today it's a business, then it was a passion. Godspeed, Guy. That's from Julia.